TGR.
Hey everybody, welcome to another team building exercise. I'm Sean, this is Matt. Today we're going to figure out, in honor of the upcoming release of World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, what are the top 4 races, top 4 playable races in World of Warcraft. This is going to be completely based on our personal opinions. So we hope you like them.
Someone just turned off the video. They're like, "No, Naga, get out of here."
The way this is going to work is we're going to flip over 4 cards first. We're going to place them here. Those will be our initial top 4. And then we're going to flip another card over, and each card we have to vote, does it belong in the current top 4? If even one of us says yes, it's going in, and then we have to come to a consensus on what race is coming out. If we can't come to a consensus, we're going to take the current top 4, shuffle them, and we're going to throw one away at random.
Now, so that people at home know, have you always... I mean, neither of us are active subscribers right now, though we're both considering it, and we've both played every expansion, right? And the only one I didn't play at launch was Mists of Pandaria. But you've always played Horde?
No, I started off on Alliance.
See, we both
I played vanilla almost exclusively Alliance.
We both started Alliance. When did you switch?
Burning Crusade, and I never went back.
See, I switched Alliance. I think I switched Wrath. Early Wrath was when I switched.
But I have fond memories of some Alliance. So, we're talking about races. This is probably the one video where we're going to allow ourselves to be racist.
Hey!
I don't know. That didn't hit so well.
I don't know. I don't know if are there. I mean, I assume if there's going to be an expansion where there are racial slurs in WoW, it's going to have to be.
I feel like there are. There are racial slurs in WoW.
I don't know, like long ears or something.
Something like that.
That feels rude.
I feel like there actually isn't now that we're saying it.
I feel like a bad person for even like coming up with one. So, we'll see what happens. My chair's really high.
All right, so these first 4 are going to be our current top 4. We're going to talk about them briefly before we get to the real fun. The first one is the Night Elf.
Sean, what race did you start with?
Night Elf.
Same. What memories? Oh,
that starting zone of
Teledrisil and Darnassus and
So how's this? Okay, I guess some spoilers potentially for the new expansion based on what has been revealed so far in trailers and stuff. So if you're going in completely blind, ignore this. But have they said how the starting areas for some of these places that are going to be potentially destroyed are going to play out?
I'm not sure how they're tweaking it. I mean, I wonder right now how they're doing it because the world tree is literally where you start for Night Elves.
Maybe once you get to the finish of your starting point, you experience the cinematic of what happens to that zone, and then you're just out of it.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I really want to resub and go see what's going on in the pre-patch right now. I'm just thinking about like that beautiful music that just do.
It was so unique. You got everybody that start in vanilla WoW days when you had people starting as humans, dwarves, or gnomes, and they were all kind of centralized over on the other side of the world. Night Elves were off over here by themselves behind enemy lines, and I remember as a level 12 Night Elf taking the ship over to Menethil Harbor
in Darkshore,
and swimming along the coast all the way to Stormwind so I could play with my friends. And the funny thing is, when I got my Night Elf into Stormwind and I was just looking around for the first time, I got stuck in some geometry. And when I hit the reset button, it hearthed me all the way back to Tel. I was so mad.
Night Elf experience was the best experience because you got to start in an area and your leveling experience was so much more interesting in my opinion. Plus the lore, man, like they're the oldest race on Azeroth, and they're such a different. They're not like dark elves from all these other mythoses, but they're not like normal elves. Like there's a very unique. Plus, I've always been a druid guy. I like druids. Although I started as a rogue, but man, this is gonna.
I also started as a rogue,
dude. Kindred spirits, shall we say. No, I mean, this is going to be a hard one to knock out of the top 4. I love it. And it just takes me back to the first day I logged into WoW and was just blown away by what like an MMO could be. meeting, I mean, people that I know to this day that I met randomly because like together in vanilla when you didn't have like you didn't have the automatic grouping functions, and I ran into another Night Elf rogue and it was just like, hey, my name's so and so, let's quest together, and then years later like we still know each other. So
I do feel like once the Blood Elves came around, they were like the cool elf. We'll get there because all those races are in here, so we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll Night Elves, look, true to my heart. I love Night Elves.
Next up is the Dwarves. We're starting heavy on the Alliance side.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my second major character was a dwarf. Dwarf hunter named Flippy, and his pet was named Trippy.
I think I've done every starting area, both pre and post Cataclysm, so I think I know all of them. What class was he?
A hunter.
Hunter. That was a good dwarf class. I don't love that starting area, but Ironforge is awesome. Like when you first walk in,
it looks so good.
And then freaking just like the forge area and all that. Dude, why are we talking about WoW right now? Like, I just want to go log in.
To convince ourselves to go resubscribe.
I mean, I feel like dwarves are the best race to come out of that area if, you really think about it.
Out of the Eastern Kingdoms?
No, some people are going to get really mad at me because remember, dwarves and gnomes literally sit in the same exact area. And gnome lovers are, like, they're hardcore passionate about their... Dwarves are cool. You know what I will say about dwarves? They have had, like, just such a lack of story impact across WoW. They just don't use, like...
no, they've got, Bronzebeard, Magni, who shows up in a lot of the
I feel like
raids
up until recently, and now I haven't... I was just watching a catch-up video since I played Legion for 6 to 8 months or so. So I haven't watched the end of Legion, but I know that... there are dwarven characters that become more important as a part of the story, so it's cool that they've brought them in more. But I felt like largely through the first 3 or 4 expansions, like if you were playing as a dwarf, you didn't have like a Sylvanas or somebody.
That's true.
So it was kind of tough.
It wasn't really until maybe Cataclysm that they kind of like reemerged for a bit in certain areas.
Yeah.
Like
you got some cool raids.
The what's the final main leveling area in Cataclysm over on the Eastern Kingdom side?
Is it
the level 60 or the level
Deep Home?
Not Deep Home. The one that has all the dragons in it.
Twilight. I know what you're talking about. It's got the first major raid in it. Like you go up the spiral with the purple.
I feel like there's a lot of Dark Iron dwarves or some new race of dwarves like on the.
They definitely was definitely a lot of good dwarven lore in Cataclysm because you got to go to Deep Home and like they did the whole. They were talking about that was a carryover from the end of Wrath where you got a lot of stuff that had to do with actually. I feel like a jerk right now. There's the whole series of quests leading through all of the cool like dwarven 5-mans that have to do with all the astrological symbols because Yogg-Saron and that whole raid. Yeah. There's the character. I'm totally blanking on his name. Please yell at me in the comments. Is it one of them?
The guy with the adventure hat?
Yeah, he runs
that's
around.
What I'm saying. He's the one that he shows up in all the different raids.
Calling me crazy. So major storyline, maybe not as important, but he was an awesome character, and
there's a common thread that we
That's good. Yeah, man, that's like one of my favorite raids of all time too.
Plus, oh gosh, we're showing our.
I know. I feel so out of touch with it right now.
But the dude that starts off in Stranglethorn and then he shows up in different places doing all the different hunts.
Yeah. Oh no, you're killing me right now.
We'll come back to him.
I feel like such a noob.
It's been.
Oh man,
I've been a year without WoW. But,
it's been a while. Yeah, it's been quite a while. Anyway, Dwarves.
In our top 4 for now. Also in our top 4, the Tauren.
Yeah. When I converted, obviously I converted my druid. So when I went Horde, Tauren all the way because that was the only druid class you had, the druid race you had back then. I love the Tauren.
My main today.
Tauren
Death Knight.
I think right now if I logged on my main, I can't remember if I ended on Alliance or Horde in Legion. I do not remember which I was playing primarily, but I think it was Tauren. Yeah, Tauren druid.
They're beasts.
Horned
they're
lion.
Huge. They're massive.
Oh, they're so awesome. They have those great animations, which only got better when they did the character updates. Plus, of all the races, and they've got a similar thing going, similar vibe to the Night Elves, right? Like the whole one with nature. They're not like a warring race, but even more than the Night Elves, like they weren't even like a magical race. Like they're so tribal, and they've got like their own conflict going. with the quill boars, and I love that starting area. Like, that starting area was obnoxious in certain ways. I remember that one of the first rare spawns that I ever, like, as a hunter, I don't know if you ever did this, but there were the lions that would roam the northern plains, and there was the one male lion in the pack that you could, like, back when taming rare, well, taming rare pets is still a big thing. That was one of the earliest ones you could get that would be awesome if you kept leveling him up. So every time I made a hunter, I would sneak in there, even as, like, if I was an alliance character, I'd try to sneak in there and, like, go get that.
Wow, you're giving me some vanilla vibes, because I think there was another one of those in the Badlands.
Yes.
Was the really intense tiger one that you could get. But yeah.
Oh man, that was so good. I did hate the Tauren leveling experience a little bit because I didn't
the
like
initial
having
zone's not so great.
And I didn't like having to go through
1,000 Needles.
Oh man, like 1,000 Needles wasn't fun, and
it still isn't fun. They actually made it less fun now that it's just a giant swimming pool.
Right? Yeah. It's like until you get to the desert, freaking where Zul'Farrak is. Is it Zul? Yeah, Zia. Yeah. The 44 instance. The desert's called
Daenerys.
There you go. Until you get there, like, the leveling experience is not fun, but I love Tauren.
It holds a special place in my heart. Like I said, my main since Wrath has been my Tauren Death Knight. So
nothing like a big plate armored Tauren, you know.
They're just so peaceful. They're like the unspoken. I don't know where I'm going with that. Taurens are awesome.
No, it's serene. Yeah.
The Draenei. Our first expansion race.
Man. So did you feel like when Burning Crusade came out that, like, that was an even experience, or did you feel like it was off balance in the Horde? Like, it felt like to me people were way more excited about
Blood Elves?
Yeah, Blood Elves than they were about Draenei. And at
it
the time,
was just so different.
See, I was still an Alliance player, so I didn't really get to do the whole... Like, I did the Blood Elf thing just for fun, but I was still maining Alliance. Mm-hmm. And I really like the Draenei areas.
Oh, yeah, it's very unique.
They're a lot of fun.
It's got its own style, for sure.
But as a race, they've always felt kind of, like, not super well tied because
they're aliens.
Yeah, they're coming from another world.
Okay, hang on. Granted, we know the Orcs, the Draenei, they all came from the same planet. Right. Got it.
But Orcs feel so easily tied to...
Yes, they do, because they were there from the beginning. Probably, yeah. I'm sure Draenei were there from the beginning, too, but... Right. You know,
well, no.
In the lore.
But not on Azeroth, right? Like, their spaceship.
Not in WoW, exactly.
Yeah, they crash land on Azeroth. So, I mean, I do think that they got a lot more due once you got out into Outland, like, and really started to spend your time.
Yes.
Leveling in that area, and was it starts with an N, Nagrand.
Nagrand,
When you went out to Nagrand, you got a lot of, like, really interesting Draenei stuff out there, which I thought was cool, and, like, the conflict with the ogres. So they're cool. Like, the whole hoofed thing is cool. The Russian accents.
And then the whole
you remember that stupid video that turned into their dance?
And then if they drank what's his name's blood, then they turned into those things with the tentacles.
Right. Yeah, we had I forget
what that race is called.
They're not the old ones or whatever, but they're like the corrupted versions.
Yeah.
Like the more primitive ones, which you fought a bunch of them in the swamps. So
right.
Zangarmarsh. And how am I remembering this stuff? It's like coming back.
I would say the best part about this race, by far, is Velen. Like their leader.
Velen's cool.
He is iconic, man.
He's super, super cool. He looks cool. Exodus was an interesting city, although they did that thing where they made those cities way bigger. Or Exodar, sorry. They made those cities way bigger, and nobody ever spent any time there because they were too far out of the way.
Right.
But Exodar was a lot of fun. Their racials, I mean, I loved just having a racial heal back when that was actually, like, a thing. So, I like Draenei. I have good memories leveling through that area, but I've never had one max level. And I leveled, like, I remember I leveled 2 or 3 of them. Like, I kept committing to the idea that I was going to play a female Draenei, and I did, like, a hunter... And I did a shaman, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I never got them past like level 45, but they're cool, you know.
Okay, all right.
Top 4.
So this is our current top 4. I think we have another 9 races that we got to talk about. This is where things are gonna start getting tough.
I don't like it. Why did we decide to do this?
So I'm gonna throw the 5th race out here, and then if even one of us says it's going in the top 4, it's going in, and then we'll have to figure it out from there.
All right.
But let's talk about it first, whatever it is. The Orcs.
Orcs.
I mean, they're iconic. You know.
I mean, it's
orcs and humans are like the major.
Yeah. Humans.
They are the epitome of the Horde.
like it's like the cover art, right? Like they exist beyond the scope of WoW, but Blizzard's version of them is so iconic. You know, Garrosh and Thrall and all these great characters that you had. Oh man, like they're so well tied to it. Peons back from the Warcraft games.
Yeah.
Work. Oh, me not the kind of orc. Like, just, like, clicking on them. The tribute to it in the starting area where you, like, had the quest where you walk around with a beater stick.
To
and
hit
you're
the
just
lazy
like,
peons.
And they get up, like,
Urky jerky.
they're too good. Like, wide-bodied, freaking ridiculous orcs doing the MC Hammer dance.
And freaking Orgrimmar is still one of the best, if not the best, main... cities in the game.
I mean, I haven't played a lot since Legion, but it's still like the Horde hub.
It is,
to my knowledge. Like people don't spend time in any of the other cities.
I mean, not to put down Stormwind, but Orgrimmar, come on.
Orgrimmar is awesome. That was one of the big things when I switched to Horde, and then I eventually like did a stint back on Alliance for a while with some friends. Going back to Stormwind was weird. I was like, I forgot how much I loved Orgrimmar. Like Orgrimmar was so awesome, and while I really adore the Alliance leveling areas. Like, I love everything when you get out and you do, like, Westfall.
Westfall's so good.
And Red Ridge and Dark Shore. Like, those were all really, really... Or Duskwood. Those are all really awesome areas, and I love leveling in them. But city-wise, like...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
The Barrens were not great.
No.
They had... That continent... sucked because of how open and wide things were, so it just felt like you were running in this empty space between mountains. You feel like you're
accomplishing anything.
But still, the orcs, I mean,
Orgrimmar was awesome.
And Thrall is a badass. Garrosh was a jerk.
But he had
I really liked how that thread played out over like 3 or 4 expansions.
I only read one WoW novel ever, and it was the one that tied into Cataclysm that was the events leading up to Garrosh becoming War Chief, where like Cairn challenged him to a duel, and like he fought, and Cairn was easily beating him, but because the matriarch who was like trying to undermine Cairn like poisoned the blade when she put the oil on it, so he ends up dying in the fight. And I was just like, ugh. And then he had like a 3 expansion storyline. Like, he didn't go out until Warlords of Draenor, I think.
I think he's still around.
No, he got turned to stone at the end of WoD.
He did?
Or not the end of the quest line. Right as you're about to hit max level, Thrall confronts him like in one of the last areas in Warlords of Draenor.
Oh.
And
because
there's a scene,
Speaking of orcs,
he turned him into a statue.
Okay.
So I think you can still go see the statue. I think he's still chilling there, but he just turns to stone basically.
Okay. I want to move on, but
they're going
just
in.
one last thing about Garrosh was, so it's going in.
Yeah.
But the one last thing about Garrosh that I remember was the first time like I really knew him as a character is in the pre-quests leading up to Wrath. There's a scene where like you're in Orgrimmar and Garrosh challenges Thrall for the throne for leading the Horde. And so they get into battle. They're in the pit arena area.
Yep.
And they're about to go at it, and then Arthas shows up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to fight off all the undead that are appearing out of the ground, and then they're like, we're gonna put this on hold for now. Let's go to Northrend, and that was like the start of their.
So
oh
good.
Man. Okay, so orcs are going in.
Back in the old Garrosh model days before they gave him his own model.
There's one class on here for me that would be the easy bye-bye pick.
Probably for me too.
The Draenei?
Yeah.
Okay.
As much as they're like pretty
nice
cool,
consensus.
Yeah, it's...
I'm not ready to shuffle yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Draenei.
Sorry.
You are evicted.
Ugh.
By the way, throwing cards on the floor is part of this team building, so you get to throw the next one.
Cool. Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, talked enough about orcs. Let's talk about
humans. How ironic. I mean, what's there to talk about? Like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
It's so weird because it's like they're the vanilla. It's like they're the most basic race, but that's because we're thinking of a fantasy world, and we are humans, so it's like, it's normal. It's like,
I mean, yeah, and you know what though, like. Some of the best storylines in the game.
Absolutely.
You know, Arthas obviously is crazy. Anduin and Varian's story. Like, Varian doesn't even show back up until... Is it the end of it? I don't remember when he shows back up.
Not Varian. The son. Gosh, man, I'm
No, because Varians, remember the whole, like, when you go to Stormwind initially, there was the whole Onyxia thing, right?
Right. So the sun was gone.
No.
Or were they both gone? Was he out looking for his son?
Anduin is there. He's in the throne room. Varian's the one who's gone because, like, he gets, like, enslaved somewhere and, like, becomes a gladiator. Anduin's there, is like a tiny kid, and the woman who's like ruling over the throne room or whatever is Onyxia in disguise.
And then Varian comes back. And then Anduin disappears because then he's in Onyxia's lair.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the whole thing. What I remember. But that whole story, that was a really cool storyline. Like, it was right under your nose that whole time too, which was interesting. Like, once you confront her, you have to fight like the Drakengard that are like, well, not Drakengard, they're just like the Dragonlings that are in the throne room. So there's a lot of personality there. I mean, I found myself trying to play humans because they had the best racials. They've notoriously like had the best racials for a long time because you got the automatic trinket in PvP, which was really nice, so you could double up on your trinkets. But I never got one to max level. I never loved them.
I liked a lot of stuff as other classes, or as other races rather, that were humans. Like, I loved all the zones, like we already talked about, the West Falls and the Dusk.
That's true. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They did have great areas.
They did, and
Jaina's an awesome character.
Jaina's an awesome character.
Khadgar's been really cool. They've got a lot of great like villains and heroes on both sides. So, yeah. As far as like gameplay goes, I'm like
I said, they're vanilla. They're the vanilla.
Right. They're so
flavor.
They're so tied in. Now, I'm really interested to see, we haven't talked about this yet, but they're bringing out the sub races, which I think is going to be really, really cool way to go. Like, we're not introducing a new race yet, but we're going to do these sub races, and one of them is going to be humans, and I'm really interested because they haven't shown them yet. They're one of the last two. There's going to be the trolls and the humans that they haven't actually really shown us what they are yet. But when we go to the new continent, they're going to be there, and I'm really interested to see how different they are physically, like what their story is like. I think they're supposed to be bigger than like normal humans, so that'll be fun.
As a playable race, I think the only race that I would not play. I'm going to say humans go on the list, by the way, if you didn't already say that.
Oh, I was borderline. I was like, I mean, I think I know where they're going.
Humans are going on the list.
I can deal with that.
As a playable race, I think the only race I would choose humans over would actually be orcs. I hated playing as an orc, but I loved the mythology and the world building around orcs way better than humans. But that said, humans have one of the top tier world building backgrounds and stories. Like, there's just so much going on.
Also, the best jokes in the game / joke. The Brotherhood of the Bracelet's an all-time classic, where he tells literally the plot of Lord of the Rings as the Brotherhood of the Bracelet. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll put him in.
Okay, now we got to figure out who's coming out. There's only one that I'm like easily can pick out, but I don't know.
For me, it's dwarves.
It's also dwarves for me. Okay.
I was like,
you can throw the dwarves away. Sorry, dwarves.
Sorry, dwarves.
Woo. Lots of. Oh no, that didn't go very far. So we've still got an even split between the Alliance
it's funny,
and the Horde.
We've stayed relatively in order.
Although we have thrown 2 Alliance classes on the floor so far.
That's true.
But more Alliance classes have come out. Now we're going to talk about the Undead.
The Forsaken. The Forsaken. Sylvanas is the best.
Oh, that whole storyline initially with, what was his name? Varthamir, I don't know. It began with a V. The demon dude that she like enslaved her. He was like, I'm on your side. Yeah. And then during Wrath, he was like for the Legion, and you had to go in and invade Lordaeron to kill him.
And then they've got the whole like she didn't realize that there was a whole faction inside of Undercity that was trying to like take it from her with what's his face who was making more of the because there's that whole great scene.
Putrid.
There's that whole great scene at the gate.
Yes.
Where the fight's about to happen, and then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, boom, you're all turning into Forsaken
death
now.
to the Scourge and death to the living.
And then Arthas is like, I gotta get out of here too. Yeah.
Well, and it was funny because he was blaming Sylvanas.
But she wasn't responsible.
But she was not
it.
responsible, yeah.
And then at that point, you got all that great, interesting lore where like they put orc guards in Undercity for a while because they didn't trust her anymore. And they're like, you gotta get. And there was the entire event where you would invade Undercity as like both races, and you would have to take it back from him.
Yep.
And then we got, I mean, obviously, freaking Ice Crown. Like, some of the bosses in there are directly tied to that.
Yep.
Plus, dude, talk about just a cool race lore-wise in general, right? Like, they're not just undead. The Forsaken
They're not just humans without skin.
Right. Like, the Forsaken are the ones who somehow... I forget exactly why they maintain themselves. Like, they aren't just... They're not tied to Arthas, right? They're not enslaved to him. They've found their souls and have come back from the dead. So they were humans, you know? They were other people. She was a high elf. She had her soul ripped from her body, and she unites them as a people. It's like even death can't conquer us. You know, we have a right to exist, which is obviously a very powerful story back then, and I think it is now. Of course, now she's burning down world
going
trees
crazy
and being an asshole. But... I mean, I love the Forsaken. I played a lot of Forsaken. I love that starting area.
I love the vibes surrounding them. I love their thematics in their zones and their areas.
They look a little wonky in armor.
Yeah.
But I do have at the point, let's see, I think it was during Mists, I maxed out, I was maining a warrior for a while. I mained an undead warrior, and he looks awesome.
Couldn't you technically play as Marge from The Simpsons? I don't know if you still can.
The crazy hair.
But they had the crazy high hair.
Their character updates were one of the best. I think they got so much love just because of like all the rotting flesh and the tongues. Like I remember it. I always played with either like the jaw chopped off with the tongue coming out or like the steel like Frankenstein jaw, and I had like the no eyes, like the eye socket versions.
I remember playing as an alliance during the vanilla, and it was always so... I was always so envious of their mounts, the skeletal horse mounts. Dude. I was like, I don't want this regular old horse. I want a skeleton horse. That is so cool.
Nothing was more insulting than getting ganked by an undead rogue.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was a nightmare.
That was, yes. The worst part of Arathi Basin was the undead rogues. This is where it's... I mean, it was already kind of
because you got to think about who's going.
Yeah.
I'm voting him in.
Okay, Undead is going in, period. Can we come to a consensus?
I mean, I know who I want out, and it feels like a travesty, but...
Who would you pick to go out?
I'd probably pick humans.
I think I would, too.
Okay.
That was the one I was going to say if we're... I don't want to... yes.
This is going to turn into my least favorite of the four up here, which is the design. That is the design. Oh, nice throw.
Woo. Woo. I almost hit the camera as part of
flying. That.
So duck Forsaken. Next time. Or go back and pause. That was like... Whew, that was really cool.
We are the Forsaken.
Oh, boy. I already know what's going to happen.
Yep.
This is all going to be Horde by the end of this video. We've thrown 3 alliances on the floor.
That's not true. Because I'm on a racial basis, not comparing factions. I will pick alliance races.
I mean, we do have the Horde flag sitting here. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
The alliance just doesn't sound that cool.
Next up are trolls. You know, I've never really been a big fan of trolls. I loved Vol'jin.
Yes.
I loved how his story unfolded.
He's just a good... Like, he was the best you could get if you couldn't get Karen.
Yes.
As, like,
a
war chief.
I felt bad what happened to him.
Yeah, I know,
that
man.
Sucks.
He gets wrecked. So sad.
They took him out way too fast.
I know. He barely lasted. Like, it was the initial invasion.
An expansion.
He got
in. He became the war chief after...
Oh, yeah, he lasted...
At the end of Cataclysm,
Warlords,
right?
So he stayed through Warlords.
He was through Warlords,
and
then
he
dies at the beginning of Legion. That was it.
Rough passing for him. So trolls, like, as a playable race, some people love them. Like, some people love their trolls. Like, the whole troll druid thing when they added that in.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just couldn't do it. The lanky, like, animations and all that, it's just not my cup of tea. They do have a fun starting area. And...
They do. Yes, I would agree.
As a race in general, like, outside of playable race, I mean, they've got some of the coolest, you know, like... Zul'Farrak is really interesting. Zul'Gurub.
All the music, like with the acoustics.
Yeah, man. And ZG was an awesome raid. Like that was one of the 20-man raids back in the day, and I still love going back through there and like farming for mounts and stuff like that. Like
they had the raptor mounts.
That might have been my first actual raid, actually, come to think of it. I think a friend of mine was a rogue and was in a raiding guild, and I wasn't at the time, but she needed someone to fill in for her, and so I played her rogue since I played rogue in that expansion or in that raid, and it was, I mean, I loved that. So, and they've brought them back in like compelling ways. In Wrath, they had like the whole area in Wrath that was really interesting. I don't love them as a playable race, but they've been so deeply tied, like the big brute trolls.
Oh yeah.
From like Wrath and
yeah.
I mean, what else do you say about? I mean, people who love their trolls, but
what do they say? You got the voodoo.
They did have, It's not.
I like how they speak. I like their culture.
Yeah, there's the whole culture thing.
Yeah.
Did they go full Jamaican with them, or was it? It was like a mixture of a couple things.
I always thought it sounded that way,
Louisiana.
With the voodoo, yeah.
There's a lot of different like elements in there. I think they're really.
How you doing, man?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you're right.
Troll.
And they've got the dreads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're really well designed. And troll. The one thing I will say is, trolls can take so many forms in different fantasy vibes. Like think about what a troll looks like in Lord of the Rings.
You're right. You're right.
Big, like hulking weird thing, right? So I really love the way WoW does trolls. It's like an intelligent, sentient race. Are they a version of night? Were they ever tied to night elves? I forget if there's some sort of racial connection there.
Now that you mention it, I feel like there might have been like way before.
So they remind me of like the fact that Blizzard writes really interesting fantasy lore and ties things back that are very different. So. Whereas I think, like, in J.R.R. Tolkien's world, like, orcs are a corruption of elves. But anyway.
Gosh, this is kind of actually tough. Now that we've talked about them, I'm like, I kind of like the trolls.
I don't like the trolls more than I like any of these races.
So you're not putting trolls in?
I can't vote them in, no.
I could troll and put them in.
Don't be that guy.
See what I did there?
Hey,
I
put the trolls where they belong. Under the bridge.
I feel like...
Water under the bridge.
All right, we'll let them go. We'll let the trolls go.
Yeah, make your choice.
No, I'll be good.
You're just trying to knock out freaking Alliance? Get out of here.
I'll let the trolls go.
Get out of here.
So long, trolls. We barely knew ye.
We didn't pay your troll toll.
Oh my god.
If you want to get the boy soul, you have to pay the troll toll.
Speaking of paying tolls... the Goblins.
The Goblins.
Now they've been around prior to them being a playable race.
They were in vanilla, yeah.
They were in vanilla in
Stranglethorn was like a goblin area.
Yep. Booty Bay. Ratchet. The place not Gadget's
not Gadget's
the place in Tanaris.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could remember it.
Wait, was that not Ratchet?
No, Ratchet was in the Barrens.
I don't remember what the city is called in Tanaris. Anyway, but yeah, they were a strong presence from the very start.
Yeah.
And then they were the playable race expansion for Cataclysm.
Yep. They were previously a neutral class, and I remember when they were announced as they're part of the Horde now. Everybody was like, "Well, how is that supposed to work in all these neutral zones?"
So they were they were neutral, but all of the spaces they occupied were Horde areas. Not Horde like exclusive racial areas, but tied to it at the very least, right? Like
I can see that.
Tanaris was on Kalimdor, close-ish.
Yeah. Stranglethorn had the whole elf. Or I'm sorry, the druid, the trolls.
Right, and when you would take the boat from Booty Bay,
you'd go to Ratchet.
Which was in the Barrens. That was like
you were
going into a Horde area.
Yeah.
So they always felt more tied to the Horde to me, so it didn't bother me. I don't remember there being some big uproar. I mean,
I just remember it was weird, especially if you were an alliance-focused player,
right?
Because you were used to interacting with the goblins,
That's
and
true,
all of a sudden it's like, wait, what do you mean they're part of the Horde?
Versus they got a race that was so out of left field and very cool, but like you had never really seen them very much aside from like them being killable mobs every once in a while. Right. So,
You're talking about the Worgen?
Yeah, the Worgen. Yeah. I mean, Goblins caught me off guard. I didn't think I was gonna like them, but the personalities.
Oh, the personalities are fantastic.
Hilarious. Like they basically like took a lot of the gnome stuff and like ramped it up to like their starting area is hilarious. The whole like driving the car around like cracks me up.
They're the cool gnomes.
They've got great customization options. Don't do gnome players are hardcore.
Well,
the best Fury warrior I had in my raiding guild back in vanilla was a gnome.
I've got a level 90 something gnome monk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I play my fair share of gnomes.
There you go. Monks. Well, we got to do this for classes next video. No.
Next time. Next time, baby.
Goblins are cool. I mean, I liked them. I played a lot of them. I played a lot of both of the expansion races when that expansion came out, and I never stuck with one, but I loved the personality. I thought the visual, like, they had great look to them. Like, I knew a buddy who race changed from Blood Elf to Goblin, like, for his hunter, and rated as a female Goblin hunter. I think specifically because he wanted to be the ugliest character he could possibly be, but it was funny. So, I mean, I enjoyed them. There's sort of a weird... I'm trying to remember the last time I was really actively in a while how often you see them running around. Like, I feel like you see a pretty decent amount of them.
You see them, yeah.
They do, like, shamans and mages and...
I like how they had there were multiple vocal styles for the goblins. Like, there's the, hurry back! Goblin, but then there's the
deep, like,
the
deep voice.
Hey, friend, what's going on? Yeah.
And
then there's the be careful out there, Goblin. I
do like goblins for sure. I don't think I'd ever be able to main one though. I don't remember what their... Oh, they had like a lot of the cool little gadgets too. You had like the rocket boots.
They were great. That was the race you wanted to be if you wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah, they had good engineer ties. Yeah.
Are they going in the top 4?
I don't think I'm gonna put them there.
Hurry back!
Or don't.
Sorry, goblins. Speaking of Worgens,
dude. Okay.
That starting area was so cool.
Gilneas is awesome.
It was sweet.
And the whole quest, like the whole quest line to become a Worgen, because you're actually playing a different faction of humanity that's roped off, but there's a huge like they're basically taking over. Like the Worgens are running rampant and biting people.
Yeah. But
then they develop a way for you to retain your mind, right? Like he's like, oh, here's a potion. Talking about a cool race. Like, Worgen to me, I was so tempted so many times to play my druid as a Worgen. Like, I was always very tempted. The only reason I didn't was because their cast animations look kind of goofy. And then some of, like, the more clothy-looking leather armor, they didn't necessarily look great. But I love the look. Like, the personality is lacking compared to Goblins. Yeah. But that was the one time where I played against, like, Forsaken and that whole quest line in Gilneas where you're fighting the Forsaken. And I was like... Yeah, screw the Forsaken. Like, get out of here, Sylvanas. Like, that questline was so good.
Playing Shadowfang Keep in vanilla when I was, like, level 40 or 50 or whatever it was, just over and over and over, trying to grind out, like, blue daggers that I could sell on the auction house. The Worgens were always so cool. It's like, I'm fighting werewolves. And then, for them to be a playable race, it was like, okay, the Horde got the cooler race with the Blood Elves. The Alliance got the cooler race with the Worgen, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
As far as expansion races
I agree. Go. Cooler, yeah, for sure. They got the cooler race. Although, Goblins still had a decent tie in a way that Dread
absolutely.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I still every time I go back to WoW, I swear I start a new Worgen character because I'm like, man, I just really enjoy that area. It's a lot of fun. Like, there's that quest where you're out there fighting, and then they blow up, like, the shoreline, and all of a sudden it changes the map. Like, they really got into phasing with that expansion and changing up the way things were phased. I think they're incredibly cool. And I think you still see a lot of them running around.
I don't like Greymane. I think he's got an attitude problem. He's screwing up the Alliance.
It's Greymane's fault.
He's got a vendetta against Sylvanas, obviously. They've been going at it for a while.
Make the Alliance great again.
Oh, my God.
They have that... Oh, man. Did you ever play a melee Worgen? You get the double flip attack. Remember how like
I don't remember.
WoW's always like coming up with different ways to like do the highlight animation where you'd be like you'd be fighting, and then when you use an ability you'd have like a special like swing or whatever. So like I think it was Night Elves who had like the spin attack, right? Like you'd spin 360, and then with Blood Elves they gave them like the behind the back, which is so stupid, but it like was kind of fun. It was like they'd do an ability and they'd pass the sword behind their back and then hit. And the Worgen had the flip. They would jump in the air and front flip and then pound down. Like little things like that still stick out to me, and that was always a lot of fun. So
does it stick out enough to go into this current top 4?
This is hard.
For the record, we have 3 more races, excuse me.
There's only 3 in there?
Yep.
Wow.
I don't think I'd put the Worgen in.
I don't think I can either.
All
I
right.
like them, but not enough.
Sorry, Worgen.
Not enough. You're shape-shifting your way out of here.
Wah. If humans can't make it, well, no.
There.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Pandaren.
Dude, talk about in demand. People wanted them forever.
Yeah, that was like it wasn't a joke character because were they like cameos or like
they were
like secret things that showed up in the Warcraft 1 through 3?
They were in the Warcraft games.
Oh, okay.
They were like straight up in the Warcraft games. They never really showed up in WoW though. And people kept being like, "Where are the Pandarens? Like they're cool. Like they were awesome. The Brewmaster thing and all that. Such an interesting culture." This is the one expansion I didn't play when it launched. Like I just didn't take it seriously at all.
I didn't either. I started it and then fell off immediately.
See, I didn't even start it.
It was such a drastic departure from everything they had done before.
It's a big change.
It was a huge creative change, and I think a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Beautiful leveling areas.
Yeah, for sure. The music was really great. The monk class was fantastic.
And it ended with the Orgrimmar raid, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Like to make Garrosh your final boss. Mm-hmm. That was so I came in like about halfway through on the the Twilight side of it. So early enough that I got to see sort of the corruption of Garrosh and all that stuff, like him releasing the spirits and all that and becoming the bad guy. And I kind of regretted not getting into it at launch because I thought it was a pretty solid expansion comparatively. But the problem was it was following up Cataclysm and Wrath, which were just, I mean, you just had this string of like, it got so much better all the way through, you know?
I feel like I feel like Mists had a much better critical reception than Cataclysm did. I feel like it did. I don't think it hit the same levels as Wrath, but I feel like everybody really enjoyed Mists.
I guess I just loved, I don't know, I was really tied to, like, I loved how Cataclysm changed the world. I thought the leveling areas were the best we ever had.
Oh, yeah, no, I like that part.
And I thought the raids were, I mean, aside from Dragon Soul being kind of a letdown towards the end, I really enjoyed, like, the initial raid experiences, which were cool, like the Flame Druids and getting to fight. Finally getting to fight, Rag again for the first time in ages, which was cool. But yeah, anyway, totally off track. Pandaren, being able to be on either faction, like that's
a big deal.
That was the big thing, right? Like that was interesting that you could pick a race and finally choose who you went with, and it tied into the story well. It made sense. And as I recall, they didn't. I mean, they
never really rejoined at the end, right?
No, you just stay on whichever faction you're on.
Yeah.
They also introduced like the monk class, but they could play as like shamans and all that. Did you ever level up Pandaren?
Yeah, I got a monk named Epic Cloud, up to whatever the cap was.
I thought they had a cool starting area. They're fun and quirky. I mean. Yeah. I think they're more interesting as a race that you interact with than they were as a playable race. But I'm also not really into the whole like Kung Fu like I love those movies, right. But I don't love like every time I go to play a Pandaren, I'm like I don't look cool. Like I don't feel like I'm bouncing around, and I'm like I mean it's fun, but I feel that need to look cool, and Tauren's about like borderline as far as I go into sort of goofy territory, so. They're a lot of fun, but
do they stay on the list?
I'm not putting them on there.
Okay, I'm not putting them there either.
That's
this we haven't had any drama yet.
I know drama. I feel like
we're gonna have some drama. I really hope this is what I think it is. Okay, good, it is. Gnomes. The Gnomes. I know what's coming up last. We'll get there. Let's talk about the Gnomes. They're short.
Really, just
it was actually really, that was in vanilla, you've got this race on the Horde side, the Tauren, and then you've got the Gnomes, and it was always like the size discrepancy actually made the Gnomes feel like they were better for PvP.
Yeah.
Because they were harder to click on, harder to spot.
Yeah.
I don't remember if a gnome could be a rogue out the gate. I don't think they could. They?
Yeah, they could.
So already, like, if you're playing on a smaller monitor back in the day, like even just trying to see the stupid thing,
I liked Gnomes. I never really played one for very long, but I always enjoyed people who mained them. Like I really liked having them in my parties. And the people who played them, you could tell they were playing them because they really loved them, right? Like that was their jam. So I always liked that. Nomergon is cool. I love.
Gadgets?
Gadgetzan is the.
Oh no, Gadgetzan is the place in Tenaris. Nomergon is the.
Gadgetzan, that's right.
Yeah, okay, Nomergon's the.
Nomergon's the starting it, but then there was that 5-man, like the gnome themed 5-man dungeon.
Nomergon.
Was it Nomergon? What was their... Oh, yeah, they didn't have their own city. That's right.
Nomergon
was their original
starting city.
Is it really?
I think it becomes
Is it now? I don't know.
Isn't it?
No, I think they're still in Ironforge. I don't know. I haven't played in a while.
No, I think you start there and then it converts. I forget.
No, you don't start there. You start out in like the wilds, basically. Like
I don't think anymore you do.
Well, you used to be like refugees.
Used to be, yes.
Because of
Nomergon.
Yeah.
You all got pushed out.
Yeah, exactly. I loved that 5-man. It's a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed it. Also very challenging. Like it taught me how to do things. Like I remember that's where I learned to heal and learn to tank, like do things like that. So they had like a cool, interesting area. I mean, they're better than dwarves. They're better than dwarves.
Debatable. I really don't have much to say about gnomes.
Nothing's more hilarious than watching a Fury gnome go like 2-hander Titan grip on you. Like he's just like got 2 huge swords and he's whooping. I don't know.
Are they staying on the list?
No.
Okay. Gnomes are not staying on the list.
Sear toss.
So long, Gnomey boy. Gnomey boy? Isn't that a game?
Is it?
Yeah, Doki Doki, whatever.
All
right,
like
so
you're making things up now.
We're on the last card. I did not plan for this to be the last one, but the Blood Elves. I like them better than one of the races on this list.
I already know where this is going.
The Blood Elves. The Blood Elves is what got me into the Horde.
Really?
They were the one that pulled me in because I was, like I said, I was full Alliance in the vanilla days. Burning Crusade came along. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make the switch. I'm going for Blood Elf. I loved their starting zone. I loved Tranquillian.
It was really cool.
And then, it was just like, hey, I'm an elf. I loved being a night elf, but I'm an elf on the Horde now. And they just looked cooler. They looked sharper. Their ears aren't all floppy.
Hey now. Night elves are the superior
Floppy
elves.
ears.
Get the hell out of here. Freaking, like, metrosexual blood elf boys with all their weird ombre hairstyles and all that, which I played a ton of, so I can't. No. And then anyone who thinks that a blood elf female is the way to go, they're like stick figures. They're freaking like anorexic, man. Like they look like you can snap them in half. Come on, give me a break.
Look,
I'm doing the Sean laugh now. I do remember when we were raiding
Salama Ashalanore.
Salama
Ashalanore. I hope
they said it so
right.
haughtily. Salama. They did have the Napoleon Dynamite dance. I have a lot of good memories. And not even their starting area, their second area. Was it Ghostlands or something like that?
Their second area was Tranquillian.
Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
It was the whole haunted, like, that area was
That was
awesome.
the best area to level for the Horde.
I would take other races up there. Because
yes.
you couldn't go in there. I would be like,
yes.
I don't care how far I have to go out of my way. I would take my Forsaken up there.
I'd take my Tauren, get a ride to Orgrimmar, ride the Zeppelin to Lordaeron,
but it was like
portal over, and
yes, I'm leveling in this area because it's so much cooler than all the other areas.
That was the best area to level for the Horde.
I love it.
Period. Until Cataclysm.
Oh, you're taking me way back now, into the way back times again. Well, I already know you're putting them in, so...
Blood Elves are going on the list.
I can live with that. I feel like I know exactly who you're taking out.
There's only one.
You are not trying to remove
the
Night
sun
Elves.
is about to set
You are
on the
not
Night Elves.
removing the Night Elves. No, dude, it can't be exclusively Horde.
Why not?
Night Elves are the bomb.
Not compared to Blood Elves.
Oh my god, you're so out of your mind. Druids, dude.
This is
Freaking
what you've been
druids.
waiting for. You've been watching the past 50 minutes of
The
video.
first race and the last, the night and the light. Oh my, dude, I can't let you do this.
Well, the Blood Elves are going in. They are now part of the top
I guess
4.
we're shuffling then because Night Elves are not
okay,
going
well,
out.
so just to check, if you had to take one off the list, who would it be? Because you have to pick. I mean, if you just want to leave it to chance, that is what it is.
I mean, in my heart, it's Orcs because I don't love playing Orcs, but that feels like such a disservice. But we already got rid of humans.
I would rather play a Night Elf than an Orc.
I would probably get rid of the Orcs if
But
I was...
I'm not getting rid of Orcs over Night Elves.
All right, I guess we're shuffling.
For the Horde! Roktaro Guard! All right, how do you want to do this? Do we want to... Since this is really the only shuffle we've done, we can either pick the one that goes out, or we can pick the 3 that stay on.
Let's make it dramatic.
We'll pick the 3 that stay on? Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep it in the theme.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for everybody at home.
I don't like this.
I'm going to put Blood Elf here, so Blood Elf is staying. So I'm going to take these cards, and I'm going to shuffle them down here, and I'm not going to look. So you can tell... I'll just keep looking at you the whole time, so you know that I have no idea what card is what. Okay. In fact, I'll like, well, don't you look, but like this way people can see I'm not like keeping my finger on a certain
He's a dirty
one.
cheater. No.
One of them has a little
I'm
hook.
standing up for you, Alliance. Night Elves deserve to be in this list.
So I've got all 4 here in my hand. So
Okay.
from left to right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to pick 3 numbers, and those will be the ones that will stay, and we'll do it one at a time.
1.
Well, it's just one at a time. So number 1 is staying?
Yeah, 1's staying.
Okay, number 1. Which is this one. No!
I win!
Oh, the Night Elves are staying.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, all right. Oh, no. Oh, no. There's only one that has to stay now, and if it doesn't, I'm going to be devastated.
3.
Number 3, okay. Number 3, that's 2, that's 4. Number 3, the Undead. No!
You did this, Sean. You could have had your cake and eaten it too, but no, you had to be selfish.
All right, between 2 and 4.
4.
The one that stays. The Orcs.
Oh, you ruined everything.
The Tauren. No, my Death Knight is dead. He'll come back to life again.
I was going to say, there'll be a rune somewhere. He'll be back.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this is not how I thought this Final Four was going to look, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. 4 was kind of limiting. Maybe we should have made it more.
No, we should have made it less. We should have made it 3 to really be.
That would have really made it hard. I didn't expect to get both the elves in there, but I didn't realize you were such a Blood Elf
Blood Elves.
fanboy.
Blood Elves they're fine.
Night Elves for life. Night Elves for life.
I'm not mad that the Night Elves are in there. Of the Alliance classes, they're probably the best.
Well, we only had 4 in here, so it was either going to be an even distribution or it was going to be off kilter. At least we didn't end up with a 4 out of 4 like someone wanted. I'm trying to be fair here. I love it. But not even like I love Night Elves to death. I'm so hyped for the subclasses or the sub races and the fact that the Nightborn are going to be in there because it's essentially like the Night Elves for Horde, which makes me super, super psyched.
Actually, the Void Elves look pretty cool.
Void Elves do look really cool. It's funny. You think people are like mad about this? They're like, too many elves, man. Like, where's the Goblin sub race? Or like, I mean,
there's the Gnomes.
I don't know. I was already kind of hyped for the expansion. This is making me more hyped. I might have to pick it up this weekend. I'm excited for the sub races. I'm excited for the new continent. The story finally going back to just being straight up Horde versus Alliance. I can't wait to see how they finish that. Are they gonna do more expansions?
Yeah.
I don't even know where they go from here, but I
feel like they're resetting.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is like a soft reboot almost.
Yeah. Legion was a good pick me up after. Like WoD
Legion
had
was
me
great.
worried, and
Oh,
I
I
loved
loved
Legion, like the whole demon
Invasion?
demon hunter thing.
Oh, the demon
was
hunter.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
it was a while since you brought in a new class, and that was a great new class people had wanted for ages, and it was only the second legendary class you had done.
Right. The second
cool.
hero class.
Or hero class. So, I mean,
I really wish Orcs one now I regret. We should have gotten rid of the Orcs.
You should let me do it. But you know what? We're getting brown Orcs in the expansion.
The Maghar.
Yeah,
how do you pronounce them?
I think it's Magthar. I'm excited for that. That's cool. I've wanted forever since they did that to be like, why don't we have them? Why can't I beat Garrosh? Well, I'm apparently allergic to orcs. So, yeah, I'm hyped. I feel like hopefully some of our viewers care about WoW still. We had to talk about it, man.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a big deal.
No, it's probably one of August, if not their biggest release.
Yeah.
One of them.
They keep slipping them out every year and a half or so.
So what do you guys think about this top 4? How badly did we screw up? How upset are you that this is not full Horde?
If you played WoW and care, give us like a total ranking of your favorite races playable, and maybe even like throw some of your non-playable races in there, because I'm sure some people repping some Naga and.
Just know that Onyx and Rudy don't know anything about WoW,
That's true.
so it's just going to be Matt and I, and I'm a Horde guy, so
I'm a Horde guy too. But,
okay.
but,
Screw the Alliance, man. Screw the Alliance.
Look, man,
Screw the Alliance.
Anduin is a good-hearted leader.
I do like Anduin.
Sylvanas is being kind of an asshole right now.
Well, so is what's her face?
Yeah, but Jaina's like righteous. She's like
Jaina
righteous
Proudmoore,
fury.
man.
She got a model update. She looks great. She got her hair done.
More like Jaina Proud
frosted
Snore.
tips and everything.
Although Khadgar's pretty cool too.
Yeah, Khadgar's good.
That's it.
No, I don't know. Come on, man. There's value on both sides of the fight.
Yeah, and there's more value on the Horde side.
What happens when Fordring is like the Lich King comes back to help fight somebody, and then we're like, oh, that's the Alliance right there.
Well, Death Knights are kind of like in between.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I'm glad that we kept some Night Elf action on there. That's all I'm saying.
We kept all the elf action on here, so all elves all the time.
Okay.
If we had to pick, since there's 4 of these here, if you had to pick a race to best describe your personality, which one would it be? Because we're gonna pass one of these out to each of the 4 of us here at TGR. You're a Night Elf.
Am I?
Well, yeah, you defended him.
It'd be between Night Elf and Forsaken, probably.
Okay, well then you can be Undead. I'll be a Blood Elf.
I'm kind of like, some days I look like a zombie when I wake up, and I'm kind of wacky and crazy, and I'm about my people. My people are my people,
so this would be Rudy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Onyx is the Night Elf. Sorry, Onyx. You're on the Alliance side. Anyway, hope you guys like that. Team building complete. Success.
For the Horde Alliance.
Rocktar Ogar. Like what you saw? Check out some of our other videos and be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our latest content. Thanks for your support and thanks for watching.